Homes Within Reach, virtual this year, as you all know, our first virtual event. I know that virtual events are becoming the norm for many of us as far as attending. This is our first virtual event that we're planning, and we're really grateful to all of you for participating. And we just want to make sure it is very much in the forefront of our mind that connecting is such an important part of our conference, and we want to do our best to still give all of you and our attendees the opportunity to connect. So I just wanted us to get together in this world just to touch base on how we can just be really successful with workshop planning so that everybody has a really positive experience. So as a speaker, let's start with the nitty gritty. The early bird cost of the event is $149, and that is also your credit. So you should have gotten a logistics email from me early on in November giving you step-by-step instructions on how to register and redeem your full credit for, as a complimentary registration. If you're not sure how to do that, please do reach out either to me, Stacy at housingalliancepa.org, or to Steph, who is info@housingalliancepa.org. Either one of us would be more than happy to help you with your registration to make sure that you get it complimentary. The complimentary deadline is December 4th, though, so please do keep that in the forefront of your minds. I will send an email to speakers as a reminder after Thanksgiving, since I know this week at this point is a little bit of a wash for folks. But people that don't make that deadline, there will be a $50 balance because you will be charged the regular, the general registration price of $199. So please don't miss that deadline. We want to be able to give you a free conference. I would love it if you would not mind checking with your fellow presenters, and I'm sure Housing Alliance staff that's working with you all in planning calls would appreciate the assistance of just checking in with each other to make sure everyone is registered. There's about 200 people to make sure that that Steph and I kind of wrangle up to make sure that you all get this complimentary registration. So if we could get some teamwork, we would really, really appreciate it. It is important. Everyone must register because we need to get the technology set up for you to be able to present. So I know in years past or when things are in person, Steph can work some magic on site at the registration table and whip up a last minute badge, but that's not possible this year with a virtual event. So it's really, really, really critical. Even if you're only speaking at your own panel and you don't plan on attending the rest of Homes Within Reach, that's fine. We still need you to register so that we can do everything we need to do in plenty of advance notice around Christmas and New Year's to make sure that things are very smooth January 12th to the 14th. So I certainly don't want to be a nag, but it's important that we get everyone registered. So please do make note of that. It is our goal that you all have a really successful panel. So some nitty gritty about that. The communication is one way. So attendees will be able to see you, but you will not be able to see them. So this meeting that we're in right now, it would be two-way communication. In theory, we all can see each other and we could all unmute and we could all be talking to each other. That's two-way communication. One way is just like a webinar, and that's how the workshops and plenaries, so everything actually except for the networking session at Homes Within Reach will be one-way communication. It's our goal that you're prepared. I know that Jennifer, Vlad, Chihun, Andrea, and Gail are working really hard on getting workshops set up, getting planning meetings rolling. We want to make sure that everyone is prepared with plenty of advance notice. So please do pay attention to those emails and respond to that conversation or your fellow panelists, because I'm very aware that Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's is right before Homes Within Reach. So we just don't want anyone scrambling when you come back after New Year's, the week before the conference. It's a goal of ours that your presentations stay to task and have good flow. I know that some of the presentations we put together and we introduced colleagues, and you may not necessarily know each other, which is all the more reason why it's really important that those planning meetings happen, and that they happen in advance, that they happen in December, and that we don't wait until January to try to smush any of them in, because then that would just create a lot of stress for you and a lot of stress for us, and we don't want that. So we want everything to have good flow and appear very seamless. I want to touch on how Q&A works. Since we're not in person, people won't be raising their hands and you won't see when they have a question. So just as though we have a chat right here, and you all can be chatting to each other, there will be a chat in each workshop session. There will also be a person not affiliated with the panel, so not a moderator, not a panelist, but an extra person. Like sometimes it will be me, sometimes it will be Steph, will be behind the scenes keeping an eye on those questions. So we won't be seen on the screen, but we will be approving them. Every question will come through a feed and will need to be approved. So someone will be keeping an eye doing that and essentially approving all questions, unless they're, for whatever reason, like really, really not relevant. Your attendees, so people that come to your sessions, do not need to pre-register. So let me just get that out there too. People can bop in and out of sessions as they see fit. So we don't have a way beforehand to predict how many people are coming to sessions. We will be able to see who came and for how long they stayed, if you're curious about that information when everything wraps up and we pull that data. Participants will be able to upvote a question, which as Steph and I were meeting with various virtual platforms this summer, this is something that caught our eye. So if there are some themes coming across questions, other participants will see them and they could click like, and whomever is moderating the session there'll be a good indicator to start with the most popular questions first. So it's certainly not a must, and I'm sure that you'll have some conversation on your planning calls about how you'll handle questions, but know that that's a feature that we're really excited about. And so that way, not everyone needs to type in the same question. They can just like it. And then we'll be able to see what's possible, or what is not popular, not possible. So I think I'm excited about that feature. Okay, so before the conference, what are your duties? I already touched on this, but I wanted to remind everyone, your duties are, please register by December 4th. It is your duty to work with our staff, to participate in a planning call. I've talked about that a little bit already, but it's really, 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 really important. If you need extra help, you should have already had a staff member reach out to you, if not multiple staff members, whether it be Chihoon, Vlad, Gail, Andrea, or Jennifer. But if you haven't heard from anybody, or if you're just not sure, feel free to give our office a call. And we can connect the dots for you, no problem. Some other duties. We'd like you to prepare a presentation. So we would like you to have some type of visual on the screen. It doesn't need to be, there is no certain expectation about, like, does it need to be really fancy designed, or does it need to be incredibly, incredibly detail oriented? No, but we know that different people learn in different ways. Some people learn by listening and other people learn by seeing. So we just want to make sure that we've got both bases covered. So please do work with your fellow panelists and have at least something for people to look at on the screen. In a virtual world, this next bullet perhaps is equally, maybe even arguably more important than having a presentation. We really would like you to take a good look at your setting. So where you will be on conference day and where you will be presenting from. So Exhibit A, I'm in my office at home. This is a terrible presentation setting. There's lots of distracting stuff over here because this closet is a mirror, so you can kind of see the hallway. my light's above my head, which is not good lighting on my face. So this is a great example of what not to do. Don't be in an environment like this. Please check your internet connection. If you are working from home, we totally understand a lot of kids are doing virtual school. So if your internet is overloaded with Google Meets and kids meeting, just if we can be aware of all of that to make sure that you are heard well and seen well without a delay. You are not able to call in with your phone. So that's also important to note. The sound needs to come from the computer. So, or through the platform on your phone, like through, so you can log in. A phone is not overly ideal, but you could log into the virtual platform from your phone and the video would come from your phone and the sound, but you're not able to log into the video and then call a phone number. Steph, am I being clear with that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. As far as audio cannot come in through a phone number. So there's no like 1-800 number to call. You've got to use the platform for your sound.
That's right.
Great. I'm going to send out this presentation, and we found this really great, very simple YouTube video that talks about lighting tips. So honestly, facing a window, like you face the window being your natural light, is best case scenario. Having not a ton of clutter behind you is a great scenario. Having something visually interesting, you know, whether it's a picture or a plant, whatever it takes for you to look comfortable is fine. You certainly don't just need to be on a blank wall, but too much going on behind you just distracts from you and what you're presenting and gives people an opportunity to wonder, like, is that candle really a reflection? Or what is that in your background? So please, I encourage you to watch that quick video and get some lighting tips. Ring lights are also, not that anyone needs to go buy a ring light, but they provide some great light. So just natural light on your face is always the best way to look your best. And then I'd also really ask that you block the time off on your calendar for your session so that you're not multitasking during it. We all can be, there's so much going on all the time and things coming at us. It's easy to want to multitask, but I'd really appreciate if in that chunk of time, you're just really present and engaged with attendees like you would be if we were in person. Okay, so it's session day. It's either January 13th or 14th, depending on when your session is. We ask that you log in 15 minutes in advance. That way we can dump you into a green room and make sure that your sound's okay, your lighting is okay. We can make any last minute adjustments that we need to make. Our platform is called Cvent, and there will be a Cvent staff person, so a Cvent technology person dedicated to every session. So everyone will have its own person, so you don't need to worry that any particular staff person will be pulled in multiple directions. They won't be. They're just dedicated to your session, and they can help with any technical issues that need to be addressed. We also have a project manager from the day, and Steph and I will be floating around. So there will be a ton of support in case anything were to go wrong. But I feel really good that we've got it. We've thought about it. We've been very intentional about it from the beginning, and there'll be tons of staff around to help things go very smoothly. During your session, it would be fantastic if you keep your video on. I know that sometimes it's just so tempting to just turn it off. But it would really be wonderful, especially in this time where people really want to connect and people want to learn, and they're not going to be able to see each other. So being able to see you instead of just like three to five black boxes with a name on it is not necessarily the attendee experience that people are looking for. So please do keep your video on and keep your sound muted. The Cvent staff person will remind you that, but unless you're speaking, please do mute your sound just in case your dog barks or your neighbors are loud or whatever it is, whatever your situation is. We want you to smile. We want to make sure that you are engaged with what you're talking about. So please, like I said, please try not to multitask. Just stick with your session for that hour and really just be present. After your session, the Housing Alliance does not need to approve your presentations. So I know that's a question that we get asked a lot. There's no need for us to see that beforehand, but we do love to be able to offer materials to any attendees if they ask for them. So I would really appreciate that somebody from your panel send me an email or Steph, either which one of us, with what your presentation is. Please just include the session. It's a little bit easier for us as we're filing them away. But we would love to be able to post the session and any materials online on the conference website. Participants are able to review the sessions for 90 days. We're really excited about that. So people could essentially, hopefully in 90 days, go to every single Homes Within Reach session, or at least get all of the material. So it's just helpful if you send those over to us. I will send out one request for them, but we won't go totally tracking everyone down. So it's just a little bit easier. If that's just on your radar, please do send us your materials. And just some last minute, I'm sure I've already said most of these things, but please speak loudly, speak clearly, speak slowly, enunciate. I know sometimes I tend to talk fast, and especially if you feel nervous, please put a little post-it on your computer that just says little reminders, slow down, smile. We want you to be engaging. So feel free to build, I don't know the answer to this now that I said that and I was about to suggest it, but Steph and I will find out if you can have a poll in your session or if there's other ways to be engaged. We will let you know that, but people love that. So, things that are add graphics, add pictures, things to keep people sticking with you and not tempted to bow out early. We encourage you to encourage your attendees to ask questions. We want everyone to be able to learn as much as possible. On your planning call, give yourself 3 to 5 minutes just to get to know each other, especially if you don't know each other. So please, do the introductions, ask everyone how they're doing, where they work, what their type, whatever it takes, just to break the ice a little bit so that you all have a better flow and it just feels a little bit more natural. And additionally, we always will encourage you to just turn your video on, because it's easier to talk to people than it is to talk to a black box, and it just makes for good networking, and that's really on the forefront of our mind right now. I'm confident you all have our contact information, but just in case you don't, here it is again. Please call us anytime, or please email your, contact your staff person who's working specifically with your panel or workshop. Contact me. I'm sure you get many emails from me about logistics, so I'm sure you can get in touch with us. But just in case you need a reminder, there it is. I'm going to stop my share, and I know that we've got a couple of questions in the chat. While I'm taking a peek of them, if anybody, oh, thank you, Andrea and Steph, for answering some of these. Let me go through them as well. Should I still register as a presenter if I register as a sponsor? Blanca, no, you're okay. As long as you've registered in general. So for those of you that are also sponsors, you only need to register one time. Sessions are 60 minutes. Thank you, Andrea, for answering that. Which virtual platform is being used? That's a little bit of a complicated question. It's a simple answer, but complicated. Cvent is our platform. You've been using them for us for registration for Homes Within Reach the past couple of years, if you didn't know that already. So we're using their virtual attendee hub, but they use Zoom for the communication part of it. So it will feel much like this. So if you are an avid Zoom user, you might feel like you're on Zoom, but you're actually coming through Cvent to get there. Steph, Andrea, any other, Vlad, G, and I see you here, any other Housing Alliance people, is there anything you'd like to add, or does anyone want to unmute themselves and ask any questions?
I had a quick question. So, for folks who likes to use a background in Zoom, will they be able to use one on the CBEN platform?
Yes, sure. Yeah, if a virtual background is easier. I see a couple of you have virtual backgrounds. That's fun. Yes, if that's easier for you and your lighting is good. So virtual backgrounds don't work for me in my office because my lighting is not good. But if that is tried and true and tested for you, go for it. How long should, I see some questions, how long should your presentation be? You'll work that out on your planning meeting. So you've got a planning meeting set up, I'm sure, before, probably within the next 3 weeks. And that's where you will come together with your fellow panelists and you will work out your session. How do you do liking the question? We can't do it here because we're not in our CBEN platform right now. We're just in Zoom. So once you get into the platform, it'll be very clear.
Stacy, I'd just like to add to that. I am not sure that speakers, that you as someone presenting in the session will be able to like a question. I believe that's only for the people attending the session.
I believe you are absolutely correct. Yeah. So your behind the scenes person will be feeding you the questions. You will see them digitally, but yes, you won't see it in the same way that attendees will.
This is Chris Galata. Are we doing the screen sharing, the presenters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it will feel just like this. So it will feel just, there'll be a box, share screen. It will feel just like a Zoom meeting. There are speaker trainings by CVent. So you should have also seen that in your logistics email. That's where they will show you the really nitty gritty behind the scenes of the platform. We will record them and also send them out, but they're only between 20 and 30 minutes long max. But it would make a whole lot of sense to please do attend those. I think I set up, there's like 10 different options to hopefully suit everyone's schedule. So please do your best to pop in on one of those.
I would like to point out to everyone that during this call, I was able to convert Stacy's logistics email into a Word document that is now in the chat. So if you need to grab that, feel free to download it.
Awesome.
It has all the details about registering, signing up for a CVent, training, all of that.
Thanks, Steph. Anyone else have any questions? I really appreciate you all popping in here today, and hopefully we answered some questions. If you have some, gave you some good tips, got you excited. We're really excited for Homes Within Reach. Even though we can't be in person, I think we've got a really great program planned, and CVent is a wonderful platform. So I'm excited that we'll be able to at least connect in some way in such a strange year.
Is the virtual information up in the chat now? I'm not seeing it.
Yep, scroll up. It's a Word document from 11 to 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Yep, and somebody just asked a question about CLE. There are no CLE credits this year. The CLE board didn't approve virtual events in this way. So there are no CLE credits. It looks like that's a natural break. So I will follow this up with emailing out the presentation and the recording this afternoon. Again, thank you all very much for your time planning a session, participating in a session, spreading the word about Homes Within Reach. We really appreciate you all, and we certainly could not have a successful conference without you. So thank you very, very, very much. And I will see you in January. Thanks all. Happy Thanksgiving.